this next song's actually wrote by myself. Being a female Rangers fan, or well, female football fan in any sense, it's kind of like, do you only support it because your boyfriend does or what? But I was brought up with Rangers and I wouldn't have it any other way, so this is my own song called I'll Follow Rangers. Just boys in blue, they are the best I've ever seen. Only 4 years old, singing hammer time and in love with Mike almost. All my other friends just played with the Barbies, but I wanted to play in ghosts. That's just me. So I sing, follow, follow, follow Glasgow Rangers everywhere I go. Follow, follow, follow Glasgow Rangers, it's all I know. I was brought up right with Rangers in my life, and I'll always be loyal and true. All thanks to 4 lads for the best thing I've had. Founded in 1872, I follow Rangers. Going to Ibrox, there's no better feeling than hearing them play the best. The fans all start singing, the boys run out as they play for the badge and their breast. Oh, the good and the bad, yes, we came through them both. From scoring at Parkhead and even Arbroath, there's no other team that is worth all of the stress. So I sing, follow, follow, follow Glasgow Rangers everywhere I go. Follow, follow, follow Glasgow Rangers, it's all I know. I was brought up right with Rangers in my life, and I'll always be loyal and true. All thanks to my dad for the best thing I've had. Founded in 1872, I follow Rangers. I follow Rangers. Rangers in my life, and I'll always be loyal and true. All thanks to 4 lads for the best thing I've had. Founded in 1872, I follow Rangers.
Hello, hello, this is Si Leslie at the Gers TV and special guest today, Gordon Bond. How are we doing, guys? Just a quick after-match show regarding the game, and we're going to do a wee bit later on about the tactical voting that we supported. Gordon's going to give you some details on some information on how he thinks it went and various other stuff. I'm just quickly taking the number off the new. Welcome along, Gordon. How did you enjoy the match tonight?
It's very good win. I know obviously second last game of the season, could be complacent, but got the job done. Well on our way to getting an unbeaten season now. All we need to do is finish the job at home on Saturday, and that's us, undefeated season.
Yep.
And it will be a long time coming. Finally we've won the league several weeks ago, a couple of months ago, but lifting that trophy, it's going to be an emotional time, and it's been a long wait, but looking forward to it.
Well, it looks like now we're going to hit as long as we don't bugger up in the weekend, it's looking like 100 points, which would be, we're going to break the 100 points mark, which would be far more than expected at the start of the season, I think.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Aye. As I say, it's just it's kind of been a kind of anticlimax for the last few weeks. Obviously, it's the Johnston game at home with the cup exit was a bit of a blow. But at the end of the day, the league's a bread and butter, and if you said at the start of the season, if you took the league title over the 2 cups at the start of the season, you would snap it up. So
guys, we've just done a wee refresh here when we've done it, and it's just come in as John Kiernan. Just let us know you can hear us all right before we continue the chat. I think it should be a good level of volume now, but just give us a thumbs up. I've got over 100 people watching so far. Just want to make sure you can hear us before we start ranting and rabbling away. So if you give us a thumbs up, guys, just to let us know. Just to continue what we're talking about, the other one, the penalty, the 2 goals were taken great, I thought. Rangers played really well, but I think if they had to score 4 or 5, they could have scored them. But that said, Livingston played well again. I thought it was really good that they played football and tried to have a go at us. Right, so a few comments came in. Hi Simon, John Kiernan, Charles Sharp, enjoyable game, referee again, allowing multiple fouls by opposition, but a couple by the Rangers and the yellow card was out. I've got a wee call coming in, just give me a wee second, Callum, I'll catch this in, loud and clear. It sounded brilliant, John, one comments at the same time. I'm going to answer this quickly. Callum, how you doing, mate? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Callum,
How you doing?
Yeah.
did you enjoy the match?
I'll be watching the highlights tonight of the Rangers game.
You enjoy it?
I saw the result.
Yeah.
3-0 win against Livingston.
You said you're watching the highlights. Have you seen the game, or are you still waiting for that?
Pardon?
You stay, as I say, you're the boy that stays up north. Have you not saw the game yet, Callum? No?
No, I haven't seen the game, but I'm saying there's highlights tonight on 14.
You're going to watch it? Alright, okay,
At
no
quarter to
worries.
11.
Aye, so what was your point? What were you phoning for?
What, the winning? Or,
Oh, was there anything else you were wanting to say?
no, but I checked my phone tonight and I see that we're on 99 points, so we just need one more point to make it 100. But
Yeah.
we either need a draw or a win against Aberdeen on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we will get. I'm quite sure we'll do that, and it'll be party all over Scotland.
Si and I were actually talking about this just 5 minutes ago before the show, and I think right now, if you said the draw, you'd probably maybe take it right now, just to get that 100-point mark. But obviously, we want the win, go for the win. But you're absolutely right. 99 points now, and a wee win on Saturday gets us 102 points, and some season.
Aye, no, good point, Callum. Anything else you want to say?
Well, I saw the other result tonight, or next one. Neighbours won 4-0 Celtic.
Yep.
Aye.
I know that we're not Celtic supporters, but we're Rangers supporters.
Yeah, correct.
I think we should stick. I think we should stick being Rangers supporters.
I don't think you'll get many people
I
that disagree with that.
Listen, Callum, great call, mate. Great call, and all the best, pal. All right.
Okay, keep tuning in and keep supporting the Rangers.
The game on Saturday, it's live on Sky Sports.
Good stuff, mate. And give us a wee call next week again. That's great. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Callum. Thanks for the call, mate. Take care.
Okay.
That's Callum. He lives up north, right up the top of Scotland. We got that dry sense of humour, I think, when he talked to him. Lovely guy, right enough. But he's got a good point. 100 points for when he said that Rangers will hit the 100-point mark. I think that's the most important thing. A couple of comments here. I thought tactical voting went well. Without that, we'd have done a bit better. We'll talk about that.
We'll get to that in a wee minute or
half
two.
hour on that, the last half hour. That was the main point of the show. It's just, I don't think it's a good idea to do a Rangers show right after a game and no mention the game. So we'll speak about the game for half an hour first of all. Terry McMillan, we're the people. Si Leslie, for everyone on Mull. Hope you're well and you have a great time on Saturday. Thanks, Alistair. I got a phone call from Big Boffy, who's doing his 5-mile walk now, and he was puffing and panting. It sounded like a porno movie when he phoned us there. It really was heavy going, but
he was sounding a bit like Ron Jeremy, but
but to be fair, it's a lot of money he's raised, and all you guys in Mull have done well putting the Rangers name out there. If anybody wants to join the Rangers Supporters Club in the Mull area, just contact Alistair or Big Colin. I'm sure you'll be made more than welcome.
How big is the Mull Supporters Club?
They just started to do it last year. I think
All right, okay.
I don't know. I think there's about 10 in it, maybe 15. I'm not sure. Alistair will answer that one. I'm not really sure. But they do a lot of work, and they've had a few players coming and a few plans. Linda Ward 2 nights in a row. That's right, Linda. Remember, I need the T-shirt done for Blackpool. We'll just talk about the Blackpool trip. I'll send you a wee text after the show. Stephen Greer, love to the Rangers. Guys, let us know what's the plans for Saturday. Everyone's talking about George Square being shut. If it's shut, where are we going? I still say we go to George Square. I think the match should just go ahead. Still go to George Square. But let us know what you guys think, and let us know what you think about the match. You can phone in and talk about the match for the first half hour. I'll put the details up in a wee second. The invite, well, the invite, you can get an invite on there any time at all, just send me a message.
I think it's an open invite, isn't it, Si?
Aye, it's an open invite. But invite to where? I don't even know where. There's always a party here. Let us know what your plans are for Saturday. Let us know what you thought of the game. If anybody wants to phone in, tell us what your opinions on the match. I think if Rangers had to score more goals, they would have. But fair play. Rangers didn't look like losing the game. Although the the Livingston player hit the post, was about their only chance, but he should have scored.
Couple more comments coming in. Grant Alexander just put in for Blackpool. I've been down for one. They'll be to Blackpool. Grant, then you're in for a treat. Moving on. Zombie on YouTube. If George Square's closed, then open it. Leave that up to you guys. You can do that better than me. Michelle Adams. I'm going and parked in the green if the square is shut. Well, Michelle, get that organised and let us know all about it. Get that shared. Tommy, football on pitches like tonight should be banned. Injuries just waiting to happen. Well, you've seen Cedric Eaton getting that kind of almost an injury the last kind of couple of minutes in injury time.
Linda, just what you're saying
this,
we're going with that for the Malou at Blackpool. So in 3 weeks' time, there's actually 3 places left. We were just talking about it there, and Gordon's just talking about going. Is that right? So I'll text you afterwards and be able to get you on the bus if you want to come down with us. If you can drink with the boys, that is. But you're welcome to come down, of course. So that's your invite now.
Just get back to Tommy's point, Tommy Cadona, about the pitch in Livingston. I think that it makes a good point. It's not natural, and I think if
I don't like artificial pitches, no matter what, no matter where you're in the world. I don't like them.
With the way football boots are, and the studs and the pitches and the synthetic grass, it does lend itself to injuries.
There was times in the game of night when I watched it, the ball seemed to come back, it bounced differently from when it went in a game on a grass park, and it didn't look right to me. The other thing I noticed that Big Gary sent me a text that Ibrox is getting a new pitch laid about 2 weeks' time, I think, or a week after the last game on Saturday, so about 2 weeks' time it's getting put down. It's one of the best pitches in the world. The Cup now just put them in. So our surface will be good, Ibrox will be good to play on, but unfortunately other teams have got these artificial grounds, artificial parks that I don't believe any team in Scottish, any professional team should be playing on.
Just going back to that as well, I think Livingston is a pitch that we've struggled in the last couple of years, and the ground we have struggled on. Remember a couple of years ago we lost 2-0. Remember that we was drawn there. I think we drew there earlier this season. Is that right?
Yeah.
That was what we dropped points. In fact, I was
actually
somebody's mentioned Loudon, and I was at Loudon watching that game. We drew 0-0 away from home, so it's been a bit of a bogey park for the last couple of years, and to win 3-0 any time of the season is great. But with the second last game of the season, all they had the league title wrapped up, to go there and get 3 points and win 3-0. Pretty pleased with that.
I know, 100%. Charlie Sharp said Livingston captain Devlin made multiple fouls and never got booked. It seems to be becoming a thing with one player in the opposition giving a free rein to do as he pleased. It's like Willie Miller when he has returned to the game. The thing with that, I do think Livingston's a physical team. I do like the way they play, because if it was a Rangers playing against a superior team, you would play physical to try and beat us. Tonight I think you've got to look at the way Rangers play. We're fast and playing the ball but really skillfully, so it's probably hard for them to do anything other than kick us off the park.
Yeah, each team's got to play to its strengths, and if Livingston want to go man for man with us playing, flowing football.
I prefer that than the 10 men behind the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a couple more comments in. So Alex McCallum's asking if Si's going to Loudon. I'll leave Si to answer that.
I'm going to. Well, there's 5 boys for Coleraine in as well, so I'm trying to get them somewhere to come into the beer garden. If I can get 5 boys into the Loudon, then I will be going, because I've got my 2 places. But I'll be going somewhere in that area. Alex, anyway.
Tommy Cadona, ref called the game early. Lallagher's a penalty. I think I seen Cedric Eaton get injured, so I think it was going to be a corner. So I need to watch the highlights for that, so I can't specifically.
I know, Tommy. I never seen that part. I don't know. I was probably not aware, or whatever, but I never actually noticed that in the last minute of the game.
David Doyle was saying hi Corby. I don't know if that's a shout out to somebody
from
that
Corby.
actually knows, or it's from Corby. Right, okay.
All supporters should surround Ibrox and cheer and support the players and lift the cup and give the atmosphere like we're in the stadium. I've seen a few people on Facebook tonight laughing at the fans, young boys doing the fireworks and that at Livingston and the support. I thought it was fantastic. I don't really care. See if it's a young boy that's never been Ibrox before, if it's a teenager or if it's an old man. I don't do all that judging. If anybody would do the right to watch Rangers tonight at Livingston and went to the corner, well done, I think, and I liked it. Alright, they put the fireworks out at 40, they let them off at 44 for 45 minutes. Sometimes we take life too seriously.
Yeah.
Personally, I enjoyed it. I like the wee bit of fun, and Stephen Gerrard certainly liked it at the end.
He applauded them. Michelle Adams saying Lynn Grant or Gordy looking good. Well, that's me. I don't know who that's referring to, but I agree with that. That's a very good point you've made there, Michelle.
Can you keep the Gers supporters away? No chance. We're up and coming, 100%. Marlon, Gibb, Sandra looks different tonight, Si. Exactly.
There's Simon. You've got his best the best compliment of his entire life, haven't you, Si?
Yeah.
Your bro is your double mate. So there you go, Si. Welcome. You've done well there. Best compliment you've ever had. Michelle, the fireworks enjoyed. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of people, there's not a lot of people, but there's some people on Facebook, usual kind of, saying don't do this, don't do that. At the end of the day, it's one of these things, and people are going to celebrate. It's been a long wait, it's been a hard wait.
Charles was making a point about it's annoying that we have to change the grass every year, or every close season. I'm into, I don't know how it works. I'm not an expert on grass and stuff like that, but if it's going to give us the best...
Apart from smoking.
If it's going to give us the best surface... Ibrox Stadium should have the best surface in British football, that's my opinion. If it's going to give us the best surface, then we should have the best surface, and it should be all about playing football. So I would pay that wee bit extra money to have the best surface. Rob Pickens saying hello from the Woodford Chicken Supper Loyal Essex. We'll be in the red, white and blue in my own beer bar in my back garden. The cost of Dale picking quite right.
Lynn Grant, the feelings Mitchell. So it was good to see Tavernier get back to the goal scoring, back to taking penalties and scoring penalties.
Yep.
Again, it's always good to see 3 different goal scorers, and I know the Buffalo didn't score today, but again some good link up play, and we've got a great squad now, and I think that's the difference between this season and last season. We've got strength and depth, and I think last season there was a couple of games I remember at Ibrox where we maybe drawn 0-0 with 30 minutes to go. When you looked at the bench and we couldn't bring anyone on.
But we've got plenty of people who come on, and we've got different types of players. I like that. If the young boy Patterson had been suspended, he would have been playing. But the boy Simpson came in and played in defence tonight again.
Yep.
Didn't look out of place. Morelos played a terrible ball back to him, and I loved the way he shouted to him. He wasn't fair to Sherrick, a senior player. That kind of stuff I like.
Aye.
Again, penalty kick taken by Tav. You've got to take that after the guy. He missed one penalty, everybody goes nuts. But he's been a leader all season, and probably I've changed it that many times, but he probably does deserve to be the player of the year. But no, it's great to see so many players. I heard Ian Ferguson saying on Rangers TV tonight, players that want to play for Rangers. That's what I like, the fact that the players want to play for the club. They're all enjoying it.
Just going back to as I say, Lynn Grant, you're absolutely right, and I just think that to go a whole season undefeated, to get 99 points on the board, and I just think it's been a fantastic season. Yeah, obviously people forget as well that we've got to get a great European run as well.
Aye, I think we're all disappointed. We were disappointed with the cup games, but we were so easily 2 cup games we get knocked out in the last minute. You can't really excuse that, and it's bad game planning and it's bad match play. However, if you look at the bigger picture, if we had 100 points, which we more or less should have now, and unbeaten all season, then you really would have took that at the start of the season league wise. Europe, but I think if we hadn't won the league so early, the celebrations might have interfered with us a wee bit. I think Slavia Prague, we made them look a better team than they actually were. Arsenal put them in their place, but I would have liked to have seen Rangers faring against Arsenal in that next round. So I'm certainly a bit disappointed about we early with that.
I think that we gave, especially at the home game, we did really well away from home. We started off poorly away in Prague, came into the game, obviously Shagar had a great save, and then we could have won it as well, nicked a goal at the end as well. I think at home we gave them too much respect, and we didn't take the game by the scruff of the neck, and I think that was a game we could have easily won 3 or 4-0 if we turned up and we had the passion. I just want to ask you all a question, guys. Who's your player of the year?
We spoke about that last night. Most people took McGregor. That was the vast majority. There's a wee comment there from Michelle there. What's your views on Livy giving us a guard of honour compared to Septic? It's not really about comparing teams. I think every team should do things on their own merit. I've been really impressed by Livingston this season. I think for a smaller club, I like the way they go about their business. David Martinez is... they tried to get him sacked for football, the SPFL or whatever, the SFA. A lot of people criticised him, whatever he'd done in his past. But the guy goes out there and tries to play football. And I can understand that they tried to kick us off the park, but the reason they've done that is they're not good enough to beat us. They didn't put every man behind the ball, and they've been a breath of fresh air at times in Scottish football this year.
Yeah. And
it was a bit of class. Them doing that, it doesn't matter if Celtic or other teams didn't do it. Livingston showed a bit of class tonight doing that, and I take my hat off to them.
I remember when Livingston, I think it was Neil Lennon's either last game or second last game, when they drew away from home and it was snow. And I remember that after the game, Livingston had just made it 10 games unbeaten, and their Twitter feed was absolutely electric that night. Livingston put a tweet up saying, "Here we go, 10 in a row," which I thought was
a bit of humour,
which I thought was amazing banter.
A lot of times in Scottish football too, I think things are taken too seriously, and especially if it's a joke at Celtic, it's not allowed.
I agree with Michelle. Yeah, it's a good shout, nice touch, and but you know, obviously you might think, given as a guard of honour, you might think, you know, that means that they would step it back and take it easy, but they get torn into us, and as a couple of people have said, especially Devlin, I think he's had form for that. So, I think he's had form for that in the past. But again, guard honour, great touch, nice touch. As I say, I think Tommy Corona up above says that it's not a tradition. I don't actually. I think you're right with that. I don't think it's never been a tradition. I think it's
just respect if you want to do it. That's why I'm saying that whether any team does it, I don't think you can base it on one team does it, one team doesn't do it. The team that does it, fair play, they're a bigger team, and you just take it from there. Just quickly, the phones are on for the next 20 minutes, and then we're going to be doing just a wee political analysis regarding the tactical voting to explain how we feel it went. The number is 0141, to remember it, 0141 319 5230.
Well, if you can't remember it, it's like, how are they supposed to?
You know what it's like, too much party. It's been the champagne, it's been the wine, it's been the beers, it's been the whiskey, so it's been a great time being a Rangers supporter.
Keep us up to date what your plans are for Saturday, guys. Let us know what you're doing, what your plans are, etc. Si's always looking for pals, so that's why he's on the show. He's always looking for pals to hang about with. So.
I know you're saying that. I'll be on a woman texting again now. Remember, we're going to be live at Gers TV in Belfast. We're going to be live in Glasgow. We're going to be live at the Union Bears March. We're going to be live for the interviews at Ibrox Stadium, and possibly throughout the day. But if you want to come and see us, you know where we'll be. Ibrox will keep you up to date on it, and it'll be great to meet anybody that watches the show, any Rangers supporter. Right, where we go here. Well done to Livingston. We've done that one. Replying to, but that's just people talk to each other. Replying again. There's a bit.
I know. There's people want their own show. I think so. You've got Frank and Michelle and Tony.
There's a call there. That's Sean. I think it's Sean Maxwell. I'll just give him a quick bang. Hello, Sean.
Alright, mate. He was gone 99 points. I think we'll get 100 points in size.
Yeah.
I was on Go Radio in November. I think I still to the stream I sent you. If these Rangers would win the league with 20 odd points, I've done that, so I'm happy with that, man.
It's been fantastic. I mean, you have to take things to put things aside. You can moan about the cups. I've moaned all season about when they get beat with St Mirren, and I wasn't happy with St Johnstone. League wise, Rangers have been faultless. You have to say that, and I'm sure we'll hit that 100 point mark. Who wouldn't have took that at the start of the season? 100 points.
Definitely, man. But I'm happy with the way we played in Europe. I know the last game obviously was disappointing, but overall, I'm a happy fan. But I'm a wee bit gutted we never won the Scottish Cup and the League Cup. But
yeah.
To be honest, the season we had this season, I don't think we could actually really say anything bad about Rangers. I think Rangers have played fantastic, man. So
that's another point. Sean, that's another point I'm just going to say to you there. See the actual football. So that was the point I was going to say, throw back to you there. The actual football that Rangers have played this season, the skill and the energy, it's been fantastic watching it. You know, it really has been.
Yeah, definitely. I think Rangers have played some football this season, man. So I can't fault them this season. I think everybody may have 10 out of 10 each game. But my player of the year this year, I've criticised him a few times early years. Tavernier, I'd say Tavernier wasn't a right back, but this season, he's definitely.
It's been great.
For me, he's 10 out of 10 player of the year for me.
I agree with you there, Sean. I think that, you know, where my seat is at Ibrox, my season ticket, he's been criticised a lot. And I think that, I remember being at the semi-final a few years ago when Celtic beat us 4-0, and he came up to the fans and he apologised and whatnot. And I think he deserves it. I think he's been through a bit of the mire. I think he's way down with a ton of goals. He's been criticised. He's came through it. Even at the end of the last season, I think he gave the ball away when Celtic were on a 1-2-1 at Parkhead. So I think for him to get his hands on the trophy, lift the trophy on Saturday, it'll be great. And just to go back to your point about the 99 points, 102 points, you're absolutely right, mate. I remember sitting at the Loudon with a couple of mates, Jason and Callum, and we drew 0-0. And back then, I think I was back at end of August, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And if you said to me then, mate, that we would finish on 99 points, 102 points, win the league with 2 months to go, we'd have bit your hand off. So, good point.
I mean, another thing you need to look at regarding Gordon and Sean's point, right? Look at the Player of the Year for the Players Player of the Year, the Press Player of the Year, and the Fans Player of the Year. Every Player of the Year poll you see, the only team in it's Rangers. That tells you how good a season it's been for us.
Sean, just a quick question for me. How easy did you find it to pick your Player of the Year?
Say again, sorry.
How easy did you find it to pick your Player of the Year?
I thought it was quite hard, to be honest, mate.
Same, that's what I was saying, because I was on the poll and I was looking at the options, and there's players like, I had the Barisic wasn't even on the list that I looked at, and
these are saying this, right? One of the great things about it, see the players that have not been added to the Player of the Year. I listened to Radio Snide and they made a great point for once. They went, but see if you were going to add somebody on it that's not in the top 4 now, the players you would add on it would be Rangers players anyway.
Yeah.
It's not as if you're going to add another team. It's not going to be the Celtic players. There's players that weren't getting added there, and you're saying right away, Golston could have been added. Right away, Golston. You could have said Barisic is another one that could have came in. There's so many players that could have been added that didn't get added to it, and it's all Rangers players. It's not the other team. Rangers totally dominated the season.
If you look at every position that we've got, we had a candidate for player of the year in that position, and even our guys come off the bench, we've got Arfield as well. We've got Kamar's in a great season. But for me, I go back to it again. I think Bomber's in a great season. But at the start of the season, he scored a free kick against St Johnstone, I think, to win the game.
Aye.
He scored the crucial penalties against Antwerp to make sure that we had a good lead. So, and he scored a few free kicks, good solid at the back as well. I think every position we've had, Alfredo as well. He's come in, he's broke his duck. But even with Fredo, he's improved his discipline this time this season. And he's link-up play. Some of his passes.
Not just that, right? We're talking about these players, right? Kemar Roof scored what, in my opinion, is the greatest goal I've ever seen in football.
People, I forget about that.
Brilliant,
he went on a run through, I think, November through to January when he scored in, I think, 6-7 games in a row or whatnot.
Sean, it's a good point, mate. It's been great. It's been great fun just watching Rangers and enjoying it again.
Some of the football's been out of this world.
Hopefully next season we can get a full house. It might not be a full house at the start of the season, but hopefully we get fans in. Because, to be honest, I think some teams are taking this over a wee bit more serious than it is, man. Because look what they always say, that when there's heavy crowds, they say you'll get an outbreak. You look at George Stewart and all that, and 2 weeks later, it's never really came out it. So,
it depends how you look at it. But I'm not really want to go too deep into it.
Definitely.
I'm not a big believer in the whole COVID thing. I know it obviously exists, but there's a lot of
I'm a wee bit about the same age as that.
It's all this carry on. If you wear a 10p paper mask, it's going to save you from a life-threatening disease. I didn't wear one for a year, so I should be dead. Right? Do you know what I mean? So
I'll just move slightly to the right here. So I'll just move a wee bit away here.
And most of the guys I know, all my pals, we never wore it the mask or anything like that, and we just bevied all year round, went to parties and everything else. We're all alive, everything's fine. And all the people that have been sitting in the house and not left the house, they all look as if they all look ill. Do you know what I mean? Fresh air's a good thing for you, that's what I'm going to say, and I don't see why anybody should be depriving themselves yet.
What would you say at this moment? Simon and I have slightly different views on this, but we'll leave it there.
No, that's as I'm saying. I'm not going to get a big debate on it, but I don't see any problem with fans going to a football match. And if it's a case of people going to a concert or a football match, it doesn't differ to me. If it's groups of people going to an event, it should be groups of people going to an event. I don't really see the big thing. But let's hope for next season everybody's back at Ibrox enjoying themselves. Fight me, sure.
I think we can all agree with that.
Arguing early pies and everything else.
Who was your man of the match tonight? Because my fire stick wasn't working, so I didn't really see much of the game.
Let me think of it. I thought Davis looked as if he was helping a young boy out, Simpson, and Davis looked as if he controlled the whole game. I don't know who got the man in the match, but I thought Davis probably. Sometimes you can be one of the players where you do the job that you're told to do. Davis was like a captain for me tonight. I would have gave it to him, but I don't know who got it.
That's brilliant. Thanks for taking my call anyway,
All right,
guys.
Good call, Sean. Great call.
We'll see you once
Yeah,
the
the
back
people-
up again.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care, mate. Bye.
Cheers. There you go. A couple of comments came in there if I missed any. 2 shows in 2 days replying to Grant. They're not replying to each other. A lot of people saying they couldn't pick who the player of the year would be. I get that. I only watched Rangers and Celtic. I agree, Billy. They're all player of the year. Tav got man of the match. I didn't know that, so we never, because we came in here after that to sort this out. But I thought Alec McCallum again. Davis 100% got it. No, hold on a minute. Frank Barrett says Rangers TV. So Rangers TV gave Tav the man of the match. Is Alec McCallum saying that the official man of the match was Davis? I don't know about Ham there because we came in here, so we missed it.
I think Terry Monroe. That's probably as your real name. Probably as your real name. I don't know if you're getting all the. Don't know if you're the guy that called Clyde a couple of weeks ago when you were getting all the merchandising Twitter comments. But I think they're all player of the year. As I'm saying to Sean there on the phones, it's really hard to look at a player and say he doesn't deserve the any player of the year. So Tav. I think we did see that Tav did get player of the year.
Man of the match. I was saying for me it was Davis. A few people. Sorry, Alex McCallum's agreeing with me. Davis was. I criticised David last season, and he's been outstanding this season. I think the pressure's off him now. He's just enjoying his football, and he's going to get more international caps as well, which is great. Right, 5 more minutes of this, and then Gordon's going to then give us a wee hot fire regarding, or a wee bit more longer if you want, just explaining how tactical voting did help our community and Rangers Football Club and the fans in general, or his opinion on that anyway. So anybody wants to phone in quickly, it's 0141 319 5230. Hopefully somebody phones in because we've got things to say.
Barry Grant, Goldson, 100%. I believe that's for player of the season. Yeah, it's a very good shout.
Anibal was really good tonight. You thought he scored?
I did think he scored tight. Well, I need to be honest with you. I know I probably shouldn't say this in front of thousands of Rangers fans, but I've never been. I think up until the last kind of couple of months, I was never totally convinced about Aribo. He always seemed to be the player that, again in the big games, you kind of thought to yourselves, like, obviously he got that great goal against Braga last year, but his performances, I think anyway, in the last few months have really stepped up, and I think he's developed into the player that you think to yourself, he could be a world class player in a couple of years.
I think now Aribo is still a young boy as well. People forget that.
You do, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot to learn with football. Scottish football's a great. Rangers are a great team to learn because you're basically getting happy for. Every player that plays with Rangers knows when they go there, they'll say they've got to win every game. They'll never join another club but every game they're expected to win. They'll never get a second in the ball, and if they've one bad game, it's a disaster. I think Aribo's going to get better next season, 100%. Yeah. And if we keep Kamara, I think the two of them will be our two best players.
I do agree with what you said, Si, about Davis last season. I think when he had a few games, a kind of bad spell for a few games where you actually thought to yourself, like, is this a Stevie Davis we know?
Is he finished?
We know and love, but as I say, he's been like a new player this season, a new signing, and what is he, 38? Approximately 38?
I thought you said 6.
36, well, late 30s anyway.
Aye.
And he's played a lot of games. You see he's tracking back against Celtic, he's tracking back against St Johnstone. His stamina and his work rate is, for somebody that age, is great.
Another thing I've noticed about him, he's developed in his game now. He does a lot of non-running, that thing where the great players do, where they don't have to run, where they can play football, where they can anticipate what's going to happen. They don't need to make silly runs, and they can be in the right position. But he's also looking after the younger players in the team. He's making sure they're comfortable, and he's taking the pressure off them, and he's taking balls that he maybe shouldn't sometimes to relax them. Guys, give us a quick call if you want to phone in. 319 5230 0141 319 5230.
Got Nancy Honeyball's made a comment here. Simon, this is your kind of sense of humour, so you'll get this. Yep. You'll appreciate this. 99 points. I want sprinkles on that.
Aye.
So I think that's a kind of Mr. Whippy shift, isn't it? 99.
Aye, you never know. I prefer the 69. No, it's a
I've got to talk about the bingo.
that is a good point, but we'll hit the 100 date. We'll hit the 100 points, I'm sure. And do you know what? Apart from Celtic, what about another team we take against is Aberdeen?
Thanks, Sean. Yeah,
Putting
it's
them in
36
their
side.
place.
You're right.
36,
Sean,
anything you want to know about the Rangers?
Isn't Google a great friend?
I didn't Google it there. I just know he's 36. Let's put this one to bed. I've no fans at Ibrox helped us. Some players can't handle it. What's your thoughts? It's a really good point, Billy. But well, first of all, you never know the answer. I think on European nights the fans 100% help us, 100% without a doubt. It would have been a struggle if we'd have started for an example, that mob across the road. They're talking about how their support would have pushed to be victory. Their support would have been on the park and everything, going nuts because they haven't got the loyalty the Rangers support have got. But there is times that some of the Rangers supporters getting players' backs. I'm not sure what the answer is in that. I think because of the magnitude of the season and the way that we started off, I think the fans would have been behind them and they would have pushed them to victory. However, I do understand the argument that some players can't handle the criticism.
I'll come on that. I was kind of alluding to earlier when we were commenting about Tav getting criticised. I think that in some games when it's like, you know, Kelly at home or St Johnstone at home, Ross County at home, when we've maybe been struggling 0-0 with 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go, I agree with that. I think the big games, I think you know, the Old Firm games, European games, I think so, you're right. But I think sometimes when you are at these, you know, like Ibrox and we are struggling with 20 minutes to go, you hear murmurs and
I
don't know. You'll never know, but I do think that. I think it's a fair point. And
I mean, well, for an argument, right? I know we're talking about European again here, but the Braga game, the support definitely helped that night.
Oh yeah, aye.
The support stayed with the team, and it helped that night. I don't know, but I think the problem you've got is you can't really fans are entitled to criticise. I don't like seeing it. I don't like it myself. But if people pay their money, they're entitled to criticise. So, you'll never really know the answer. But I'm not sure if it would have affected. I think the Rangers support. I think for what we've went for and came back up, and all the people that have kicked us and everything else, and the loyal with the Rangers support, I wouldn't want to be criticising them. I would want to be saying, you know what, if any support in the world deserves a pat on the back, it's us. And that's why they deserve the party on Saturday. They deserve it. All the world Rangers supporters who can congregate.
Yeah, I think whatever we're doing and whatever you're doing, I think it's been a long time coming, and you know, stay safe but enjoy yourselves. And I think it's been a long time coming. And personally speaking, I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be, you know, you can't know about any words, can you?
Well, as I said last night, I done a video after the Celtic game with my brother Scott buying a round of drinks and 100,000 people. 100,000 people.
Must be a special occasion at Scott's buying drinks.
That's what I'm saying. We just beat Celtic. Terry Hullop phoned up to congratulate us on the phone. Your brother Scott, he's buying the drinks. And I was like, aye, but I didn't think 100,000 people. They were all, none of them could believe it, but they all seen it with their eyes. So it'll be one of the ones. There'll be videos, there'll be photos, there'll be people partying, there'll be red, white and blue, or not just over Glasgow, but all over the world. People, apparently the Man City fans are trying to buy the blue, what do you call it, the blue, what do you call it, the flares, but they can't, they've ran out because the Rangers supporters support them. That shows the size of the support.
A couple of quick comments. So Frankie Barrett disagrees and says that I don't think it helped us there not being there. As it's Spurs person matches we had to support us against the transfer have scored more. So Frank, are you in Australia? Guys, we comment, let us know. Good stuff. And Kenneth Young, over the last 10 years our fans have had trepidation, which had to get our psychology with the damage over the last few years. Yeah, good point. Maybe that's why we murmur and criticise sometimes. But
at the same time, Kenny, the reason for that is a lot of players came in at the bottom level and were working their way up, that were signed with managers who probably, like for an example, we talk about the Magic Hat and all that, right? He didn't realise when you go to the Premier League that you got to win it. They didn't realise the expectations of Rangers. They didn't realise that coming up the leagues was expected. Ibrox being full and trying to win cups and everything else, and beating Celtic in semi-finals and everything else, that's all good. But when you play with Rangers and you get to the Premier League, you expect to win the league. And a lot of players, that's a massive burden and they can't handle that. And I think that was the biggest problem they had. Facebook user, a big shout out to Simon Leslie. Cheers, who's that? But it doesn't say their name. They're watching it on the Gers TV group page, so your name doesn't come up.
Whoever that is, I'm here as well.
But anyway, cheers, aye. Right, 1 minute. Gordon's going to do a wee thing, a wee turn. He wanted to do this, and we thanked him for doing. He's been doing a lot of work for basically explaining how tactical voting works. Giving his opinion, not being telling anybody what to vote or who to vote, just telling you how he feels about it and answering questions honestly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it on to the mic on to Gordon. I'm going to pass it on to Gordon. He'll explain to you how he feels that tactical voting went last week in the elections. And if you want to phone up, you can ask him any questions. And he's quite happy if it's people who disagree with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you disagree, if you're one of these guys that, because there must be people that vote SNP that support Rangers, and we want to know how they support. Not so much how, but why.
Why?
Can we change your opinion on that, or do you think we're wrong that you should be? I don't understand how a Rangers fan can vote for the SNP or independence. However, anybody wants to make a comment, the floor's yours, Gordon. I'm just going to basically share and like here and have a wee glass of wine.
Okay, enjoy.
Right, on you go.
Okay, thanks, Si. So, people that have been watching over the last few weeks, you'll hopefully be aware that I've come on a few times, and we have discussed about the election that was last Thursday, the election that was just due there, how it went. Basically, the headline news is that the SNP were the biggest party. The SNP did, for all intents and purposes, win the election. They got a couple of extra seats, but the big one for me was, and is that they did not win an overall majority. And for weeks and weeks and weeks, the speculation and everything was that if the SNP won a majority on their own without the Green supports, then that would be their mandate for kind of instant referendum, if you like. So the good news is that the SNP didn't get a majority. However, they still won. They still won in most constituency seats, and they got the most regional votes as well. However, for me, and hopefully for a lot of people out there, there was some kind of good news, and there was some glimmers of hope on the horizon. I think that Simon, I've got a couple of articles up there that if you want to kind of bring up.
Yeah, I don't know if I can put them on the screen.
If you can't bring them on the screen, that's fine. Just to let you know, so obviously I was speaking about tactical voting. We had a couple of columns about tactical voting and the benefits of it. Now, I remember 5 years ago when I first started talking about tactical voting 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and it wasn't a thing that was in people's minds. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't a tactic. It wasn't a policy. It was just a thing that people were starting to think about. Watching all the election coverage this week, last week, tactical voting is now out there. The SNP were very afraid of tactical voting. The SNP spent millions of pounds getting their vote out because they were afraid of tactical voting, and that's a big win. So if we have this momentum and we take it forward, then there's no reason why we can't be more smart about it. We can improve upon it, and we can start to inflict defeats on the SNP. Just to highlight, I'll come to your comments in a wee minute. Just to highlight a couple of areas where tactical voting worked. You had tactical voting in Aberdeen West, where the Lib Dems and Labour lent their vote to the Conservative Party, and they held their seat, and that was a massive hold. If the SNP had won that seat and won Jackie Bailey's seat, which I'll get to a second, they could have got and would have got an overall majority. So there's strong evidence out there that tactical voting stopped the SNP from winning an overall majority. It happened in a couple of seats to note. That happened in Jackie Bailey's seat, Eastern Bartonshire, and if you look at the percentage points, there was almost an identical swing from the Conservative vote going down to Labour vote going up, and up north in Aberdeen there was almost an identical swing in Labour and Lib Dem voting going down and Conservative going up, and also in Jackson Carlaw's seat in Eastwood, again tactical voting led to Jackson Carlaw keeping his seat as well. So there were some big wins for tactical voting. It's now in the mainstream press, it's in the mainstream media. It was all over BBC, Sky News. every newspaper was talking about tactical voting. So tactical voting is now a thing. I would almost argue that the SNP are now more afraid at this moment in time of tactical voting than they are of any particular mainstream party. And I genuinely believe that now. Just if there's anybody in here that is in Airdrie Shots, just to let you know, there is a by-election tomorrow, and I would encourage you all to vote Labour there. So I would really encourage you, if anybody's from Airdrie Shots, get out and vote. Again, as we spoke about over the last few weeks, the biggest thing is apathy, and don't rely on the silent majority. Okay, so we'll get to a couple of comments. Okay, so Orkney, so Nicholas Dublin, Orkney, Shetland, Dumfries and Galloway. I've never voted for the SNP, correct? They are still Lib Dem and down there the Conservatives. So Lib Dems and Conservatives still control those areas, which is great for the Union. Charles Sharp, this is quite a long one, so I'll read it section by section. I tend to view customers with attitudes of their supporters. The supporters are really angry. Long may it last. Well, I think maybe you're talking about, you know, the SNP have got a policy of blame and grievance, and you know that's all they've been on about for the last 10 years. So it's just blaming Westminster for everything, you know, hating on the English, etc. Been this week for a short time during the miners' strike, just can't figure out the stance. All that butcher's apron nonsense gets on my thrupneys. Yeah, again, it all boils down to hatred of the English. It all boils down to xenophobia against the English. It all boils down to an enemy, somebody to blame. So I really think it's important to remember that. How do you feel about Gordon Brown and this United Alliance? I don't have an opinion on that at the moment, or maybe that's maybe for another show. We need to take tactical voting to the next level, Charles. Yeah, I absolutely think that's absolutely right. There has been some areas which there's some kind of prominent unionists that dispute who the best tactical voting person is, who the best tactical voting candidate is, and you know there shouldn't be, because for me it's pretty obvious in kind of every constituency. But again, we'll have that. Something to look forward to in the next election. Frank Barrett, Glasgow City Council seems to have taken a bit of hiding with the SP members being overseas and SP getting so many seats. How did that happen? Unfortunately, Frank, the simple thing is that a lot of people voted for the SNP. So unfortunately, the SNP have managed to galvanise their support. The SNP have got a great PR machine, great propaganda machine, and they do really well. There's no point saying, there's no point, you know, sitting here and saying they don't do a great job of what they do. They're very good at what they do. We have to match them, we have to better them, and that is the bottom line there. So I've seen a lot of infighting, so I think that, you know, over the next couple of years, I think that there might be some kind of splintering off the SNP vote. I think right now you've kind of got most of the kind of SNP supporters now is what I would call moderate independent supporters, where they do want it, whereas there's a lot of hard, I don't know if you've experienced internet trolls or the kind of SNP mafia online like I have, but there's going to be a bit of splintering where I think that, you know, the Alba party, that had an absolute disastrous election. Alex Salmon didn't get in, which is, you know, a relief, because he's a bit of an odious man, to be perfectly honest. But you know, I think the SNP, I think you'll start to see cracks in the SNP in the next couple of years, and it's up to the mainstream unionist parties, whether it's Lib Dems, Labour or Conservative, to take advantage of that. Nancy's saying, I truly don't get why anyone would vote SNP and support Rangers. Again, people do, and you know, it's important to understand that. I think that we have to understand why they're doing that. What do they see in the SNP that they don't see in Labour, they don't see in the Conservatives, they don't see in the Lib Dems? I think it's really important to understand that, and that's why Simon and myself would like somebody that supports the SNP, that's a Rangers fan, to come on and talk to us, because I would genuinely like to understand that. Nicholas Thurman, many down south are so sick of the SNP cult. I think, you know, that's a great word to use, cult. You couldn't really put it any better than that. as I highlighted a couple of shows ago, there's no criticism allowed. Even if you even watch some of the election coverage like I did, you know, every single person was always like they're reading off a script. Every acceptance speech, every interview was praising Nicola Sturgeon, you know, this and that. Absolutely no criticism is allowed of the SNP hierarchy, and it is a cult. And what I have started to notice as well is that when you speak to not, it doesn't have to be necessarily SNP supporters, but when you speak to people that are independent supporters, it is it's getting on the fanatical stage now. It's getting on religious stakes now. If you speak to an independent supporter and you try and debate with them, it's almost like a religion, and you know, it's a dangerous road to go down. Gary Miller, the SNP started voting years ago, so I don't understand why you're saying they are scared of it. I think that if you look into it a wee bit and you look at the amount of money and time SNP spent in areas like Eastern Bartonshire, like Aberdeen West, like Eastwood, I think you'll find the answer to that. The SNP tried like hell to win in some of these areas. They spent thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds on these areas, and I think that, you know, it's my personal opinion, as it wasn't for tactical voting, then the SNP will win these seats, and you know, that's why they were scared of it. Remember, Labour are not a unionist party anymore. P.S. the British League is still the winner to stop independence. I think Gary, you mentioned this a few weeks ago, mate, and what I would say is that I'm a very big fan of a British Cup. I think there should be a British Super Cup. I'm not sure how a British League would win. Would be set up and time for it to get played. But I would really love to even a friendly league at the end of the season, pre-season. I think some kind of British Cup, some kind of British friendly league, or even the Nations Cup. Si, I'm not old enough for that. You're old enough to remember that, are you not? The Nations Cup.
I remember, aye.
Something like that. Again.
They called it another.
Okay.
There was a trophy one year. They called it.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. Northern Ireland won again one year. They were calling themselves the British champions.
Yeah, so that could be actually maybe that's what you call it, the British champions. They get that trophy. It's a new trophy, Champions of Britain. Okay, so Billy, thanks for that. Hopefully some other people do as well. Michelle Adams, what they see is this, we try to bury the hard working folk, like, you know, with iPads didn't treat me. Yeah, so I see what you're saying now. Yeah, so before the election, the SNP put forward a lot of bribes. They put forward, you know, they would, you know, have this, you know, free everything basically. Anything you want in life will be free if you vote the SNP, and it'll be very, very interesting to follow that and to see what actually transpires. If you look back to 2007, the SNP promised to get rid of the council tax. So I'll wait with bated breath. I think we're still waiting for that. So we'll see how they all go, Michelle. Zombie, it's more than a cult, it's fascism. It's in its literal definition. There's a very strong point for that. I really think that it is becoming that, and as soon as you start to have any kind of rational debate with anyone, you're called, you know, this and that, you're swore at, you're told to F off to England, etc. And apparently if you don't like the SNP, you hate Scotland, which is absolutely ridiculous. Charles Sharp's asking, what about the SNP in the list of people that don't like them? Straight out the fascist. Yes, so yeah, boycott. So if you go back to 2014, before the referendum, there was they got together and they had lists of boycotts. They had a, you know, shitty protest outside the BBC. Anyone that gets on the bad side, again, they'll want to boycott, they'll want to ruin their business, etc. Absolutely ridiculous. That part's easy to you as well. Nicola Sturgeon bribes, they buy votes with taxpayers' money. Now I'm going to go against it a little bit and say that all kind of political parties have been guilty of this in the past, but I think with the SNP, it's, you know, it's beyond, you know, it's beyond belief. But and what they do in their campaign literature, I don't know if anyone still have these or you received this through the post, but on the headlines it will be free this, free that, free this, free, and you know, nothing's free. The governments don't have money, it's the taxpayers that have money, and nothing is free. The taxpayers pay for it, whether it's through direct taxation, national insurance, VAT, corporation tax, stamp duty, or whatever. We all pay for these three things. So that's value 55. What do you think of Rangers B team playing in the lower leagues? Yeah, there was a vote on that the other night, and I think Rangers will now be playing in the kind of Highland leagues, so the up there, so they'll be playing the likes of Kelty and Cove, etc. We'll see how it transpires. It'll be good. I think it's it'll be a competitive league, so good experience. So we'll see where that goes. I thought Rangers paid 25 grand for that. I'm not 100% sure. I need to double check that. But so personally, I think it's a great idea. I think it'll be a good experience, and it's always good to have competitive football. Go back to Michelle. They won the nurses and doctors, which I don't know. Do they reckon a super hospital? Again, so what the NHS, what the SNP do is like to centralise, and they like to have control. So rather than having regions or different things in different areas, they like to centralise so they can control it. Best example is that is in my local area they shut down the maternity unit, the REH, where I was born, and various local areas as well. They've shut down regional facilities. They've centralised the police. Again, it's all about centralisation and control, because if they don't agree with the SNP, then they can boot that person out and replace them centrally with someone that does. James Peebles, the SNP are anti-British to the core. Let's hope we don't obtain a Section 30 order. Well, I think that's illegal. Again, constitutional matters are reserved to the UK Parliament, and that's something the UK Parliament should well remember. Sean, I'm waiting for my laptop as well. So, Facebook user, no name here, but I'm from Renfrew. We eventually got rid of Derek Mackay, a year's salary of now. That wasn't through his choice. He resigned with the kind of scandal last year with a 16-year-old boy, but as I say, that's up for him. I don't know why he represented Renfrew, because I remember correctly, he stays in Bishopbriggs, but it was end up. So this is a very good point. So the Ferguson's contract. So this is a shipping contract where. So this is what the SNP have done. Again, if you look into the SNP's actual policies and track record, it's not great. And again, I won't bore you with the details now, but if you want to research that yourselves, again, it's one of these things where you'll find out for yourselves what the SNP are actually like. Hundreds of millions of pounds wasted. It's another example of how the SNP have squandered taxpayers' money.
That was Andy Lockheed that did that comment.
Okay, thanks Andy. RSC 55, cheerio, 9.5 in a row. Hello, the only invincible 55, so thank you for that. I don't think we'll find a lot of people disagreeing with that. Yep, so Zombie, again, anyone gets in the bad side, just look at Alex Salmond. Yes, so this is a good point. So Angus Robertson, who used to be the SNP leader at Westminster, he stood for the Scottish Parliament. Now, Angus Robertson has been a massive benefactor of Alex Salmond and the SNP over the last 20 years, and the interviewer directly asked him, would you thank Alex Salmond for his role and what the SNP done over the last 20 years? And he said, no, it's all down to Nicola Sturgeon. So again, you're absolutely right, chucked aside, and the cult now, they've got a new leader, they've got a new dear leader to support. So again, it's very much religious and cult like behaviour. So James P was just wait till Scotland's built under the control of the SNP. Well, I think that's already taken place. I can't see. Again, it's one of these things where if you believe in nationalisation or you believe in privatisation, that's your own personal opinion. Again, but I think that the SNP's track record when it comes to Calmac and Ferguson's and anything they've tried to do really, I think that will come true. Look at some of the prices. Yep, well, prices never go down, do they? So Nancy Honeybell's got a comment. I've met Nicola Sturgeon a few times regarding fighting for better treatment for mesh victims, and everything is about the votes. Yeah. So this is what the SNP do very well. So I don't want to get into too much, detail here with mesh. I think that if you're female, you probably know what this is. So again, what the SNP are very good at is they are very good at trying to tie themselves to a populist movement. So if you look at Mary Black with the Waspy women, if you look at Nicola Sturgeon with the mesh victims, again, it's all about attaching themselves to a cause, and it's all about going for the votes. Absolutely agree. I don't remember Nicola Sturgeon ever having any issue with this up until a year ago, 2 years ago, and it's been around for hundreds of years, sort of decades. So again, you're absolutely right. James Peebles, the fat crofter is play for the top job in Scotland. I believe you're referring to Ian Blackford. Again, don't want to go into kind of personal insults with the guy, but again, he is somebody that if you look into Ian Blackford, he was a very, 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 very high banker, and he's a millionaire, and he will stand at the dispatch box in Westminster week in, week out, and rebel against the Tories or rebel against the government in the UK about anything he can, and he is a aristocrat almost himself. So again, it is all about the trough. Blackford, yep, so Nicola Stubbins come back with Blackford £250,000 in expenses. Again, can't really argue with that. So these are the people that stand up at the TV stations and radio stations and dispatch boxes and bleat about how the working class and middle classes are oppressed all over Scotland, and they're hypocrites. Absolutely right. What I want to go and just mention just now is, just kind of moving on quickly, is that, believe it or not, there's actually another election next year. So next year is local elections. Now, if you think that tactical voting plays a part in national elections, then local elections could be the absolute biggest win for any unionists. If you look at any local constituency, any local council ward, the difference in votes can be a dozen. The difference in votes can be 24, 72, 60. Okay? And the SNP have got their power base over the last 20 years by starting at local elections, and that is how they become so successful, because they've had local activists, local people running local councils, and they've slowly, by stealth, they've slowly taken control of local councils. So please, guys, girls, in the next couple of months, look into your local elections, join your local party, stand for election, join the Conservatives, join the Labour Party, join the Lib Dem Party. If people like us don't join these parties and don't stand, then we've only got ourselves to blame. So, and imagine having the United Rangers family on your side, and every constituency, every local ward in Scotland, a union supporter could get in, because the difference in votes is turnout is 20%, 30% in some areas. That means that if we as a Rangers family, a Rangers support, could galvanise our supporters and get 50 people to tactical vote in each area, the SNP could be wiped out potentially.
You reckon that could work?
Of course it could work. I looked at my local area in Paisley, and in every ward the difference was less than 100 votes. And you had, in some areas, you had the SNP in 1,200 votes, you had Labour on 1,100 votes, Conservative 900 votes. If we got together and had an actual plan, a proper, a proper strategy, parties working together, then we could start with the SNP started 20 years ago, and then we could slowly but surely we could take back control of our country, take back control of our councils, take back control of our constituencies, and whether it's Labour, whether it's Lib Dem, whether it's Conservative, whether it's Reform, whether it's All for Unity, whether it's George Galloway's party, the best placed unionist candidate should always be voted for. in the next 10 to 16 years. In local elections, if tactical voting and us unionists can make a massive difference at a national level with 5,000 votes going from one party to the next party, just think the difference we could make at local elections. I cannot emphasise enough that local elections over in 12 months' time could be the start of turning the tide back in our favour.
Good point. You want any of them up?
If anyone's got any points on that, please bring them in. Gary Miller, the tactical, I've read from bottom to top. The tactical vote cards already been played. They'll already be working on the counter for it. I think that they were scared. They're scared of it. They're unscared of it. And you know the SNP they've got to fight at a national level of constituency against the tactical vote. We could be clever and be smart, but again, all it takes is, you know, if 5 unionists in each council area chapped on doors and spoke to people the week before the election next year, every unionist candidate could win. Just think about that. That's all it takes. That's the difference in local elections. Refreshing to hear somebody so knowledgeable about all this. Thanks, Billy. Again, if somebody wants to come on and argue with me and debate with me and tell me that I'm wrong, then and educate me, then please do. Well done, Gordon. Please keep it up. Certainly try. A couple of comments. So Charles Sharp is saying that hopefully many will be pushing the tactical aspect again next year. Also, it looks like Boris Johnson is going to have an inquiry into the handling of the pandemic. That might be fun to watch. So I think that any government that, I don't know if you used to watch these kind of comedy shows or whatever, like The Thick of It or Yes Minister, I think that any government that opens an inquiry is basically controls the inquiry, and they're quite fun. They are quite funny to watch. Scott McPhee's asking, what do you think the next step is? I think we maybe covered that in the last few minutes. The next step for the union and the next step for unionists, in my opinion, it is only my opinion, is that we start local. What the SNP did, they had a 20-year plan. The SNP didn't come out of nowhere and start winning elections, start winning constituencies. They had a plan, and they got together and they had a strategy. They had a 5-year, 10-year and 20-year plan. Okay? And the very start of that plan was putting people in place at local council elections, getting the propaganda machine, getting their Facebook views up, getting their support out there. The SNP, in my opinion, don't have millions of supporters, but they're very good at advertising, and you would think they would. So for me, Scott, to answer your question, the next step is the local elections, and the next step is having a strategy in place for them. I don't know who this is, but a Facebook user says, "You not think people still don't get the support of tactical voting as a good few seats?" Yeah, absolutely agree. I think now the difference now, however that is that tactical voting is now in the mainstream media, and tactical voting is now recognised as a political strategy. Gary Miller, so remember they are splitting into different parts, give different voices for the voters' ears, so any union parties have to fight multiple fronts. Yeah. Again, so what the SNP are good at, yeah, and so in different areas, they'll put up somebody that they can think can win Conservative votes. In different areas they'll put somebody that they think they can maybe win Labour votes. So, but again, I'll go back to this, and I'm the first to admit, they are very good at what they do. They've got a great, organisational structure. They've got great strategy, and they're a bit like Teflon. Nothing ever sticks on them. No sleaze, no corruption. They are doing it, and we know this, but nothing ever sticks. So that's why we need to copy their playbook for a lot of time. We need to start local, get control of councils, control the narrative, and that's how we build for there.
Want any of these up?
Have I missed any?
Loads of them, we get pro-union, majority Scotland elections, Google.
Well, I was just highlighting some of the results. So I think we have covered them, but again, sometimes it is good to kind of visualise things. So here's what we're saying. So it's just this headline here. So again, all you need to do, Simon, is just show the headline there. It's not really important, the actual things, but people can look at it.
They can't see it.
Alright, okay, so again, it was just, I think if you watch BBC, if you watch Sky, you'll see the guy, Professor John Curtis. He's all over the election coverage, and he's come on there and said that tactical voting played a massive part in that. Okay, so Scott, I think what we are lacking and badly need is organisation, a focal point for units to get. You hit absolutely 100% right. I think there's various groups that are starting out. There's various kind of Facebook page. There's Scotland Union, for example, is one. And personally, I'm involved with a group called United Against Separation. I've done some work with that, a lot of campaign leafleting with them. Somebody through YouTube, is asking me if I'm promoting the Scottish Unionist Party. I'm not promoting any party. I'm promoting the Unionist vote, and I'm promoting Scotland's place in the UK. If anybody from any political party that's even a small party wants to come on one show and let us know what they're doing, then fine, great. But to answer your question, I am not supporting any particular political party. I'm not asking you to vote for any political party or tell you how to vote.
I don't think the Scottish Unionist Party even exists anymore, does it?
I'll double check that. I'm not.
I don't think it does anymore. I think it ceased to exist 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's not a party I'm familiar with, and it's not a party I've ever been part of, and it's not something that, again, just to kind of reiterate that I would never ask anybody to vote a particular way. All I would ask is if you are looking to see who's the best tactical voting candidate for the Union, please do that. David Doyle, you've said about 12 times tonight, hi Corby, so hopefully Corby know that you're saying hi to them.
That's a good point here, that Charles Sharpson just not visual.
Yeah, with the SNP it's all about appearances. We need to start wearing combination Saltire Union flags. Yep, so I'll get to your second point. But yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to a minute ago. When I said that the SNP are very good at what they do. They have hijacked, in my opinion, the Scottish flag. They've hijacked the Saltire.
Any Scottish identity they've hijacked.
Yeah, and now any time that you talk down the SNP, disagree with the SNP, it's almost like if you're talking about Scotland. Again, it's all about starting local. It's all about, you're right, let's get the Saltire and Union flag out there. I think when I'm at Ibrox, there's nothing but I love to see the Union flag and the Saltire flying side by side. It's a great vision, and it's a great picture. And absolutely, Charles, that's why the SNP have these marches all the time. They have these different groups because they want to give the appearance that universal support for independence exists. If you look at what the SNP say, it's all scripted. Every interview, every question, it's all scripted, and they're good at what they do. Gary Miller's got a question. I've got a question. Are you not worried that SNP are sleazy in the game, but they don't tell people to vote Greens and they would never win the list seats? Yeah, I think that they had a deal. I think that the SNP and Greens had a deal. I think they still do. And I would if somebody out there can investigate that, it'd be really good. But I really think that I think the SNP and the Greens have a backdoor deal. I really do. I think they've had one for years now.
See that one there? Regarding the play, we done that last night. The show we done it at the start of the show tonight. We've asked people to turn up at George Square or whatever, but to activate the
yeah. Can you please make a plea to the fans travelling to Glasgow and George Square to follow with pride? Don't damage anything. Don't sing any add-ons as opposed to your litter. Let uphold the Rangers tradition with respect, dignity and class. I think that 3 words that describe Rangers fans all over the world would be respect, dignity and class, and I would agree with you, and that's why we're sharing that.
See if we get anybody phoning again, just so they know the number. It's 0141 319 5230. If you want to call in, you can call in, and if you disagree with Gordon, tell us why.
Yeah, I would love people to disagree, because everything I say is not necessarily right. I could be wrong in some things. I'm not saying that I'm automatically correct in what I'm saying. I'm just here giving my views and opinions. If anyone has got any comments, or anyone that is a support of the SNP, then you won't be laughed at. You won't be spoken down to. Channel Sharp, I recall the celebrations after the 2014 referendum, and I saw a young lassie try and grab a saltire for unionists, and the next day it was presented in the media as a unionist trying to steal a saltire from her.
That's what happens when you control the media now.
Yeah, I think somebody actually did write that point above about controlling the media. I think that is a great point, and I think you're absolutely right. I think there has been a shift, and I think, again, it's just thinking, it's just opinion here, but again, we need to have people in these positions. We need to, apply for jobs as journalists. We need to be online. We need to be bloggers. We need to be tweeters. We need to be Facebook users. We need to be on Instagram. We need to be on Snapchat. We need to get a message across there. Somebody from YouTube's asking me who do I vote for, and my hand on heart, my honest answer is the best placed unionist candidate to beat the SNP. Michelle Adams, I know a few Celtic fans and they voted for the Tories. Shows are getting fed up of the SNP. Two more noise needs to be made. So I think what you're saying there is that even the traditional kind of, I think in my opinion, up until 20-30 years ago, I think that Celtic fans were aligned to kind of, in some areas anyway, so I think Glasgow would be Labour supporters, and the SNP done a great job in bringing them over to their side. But I think the point you're making now, Michelle, is that they're getting sick of the SNP, getting sick of the propaganda, sick of the lies, and I think you're right. I think we need to take back. I think we need to take back our country, and again, just getting back to what I said 5-10 minutes ago. Hopefully, it will start the local elections. If there's people watching this, join your local, party, stand for election. It's people like us that can win it back.
Gordon, just one, cause a lot of people might not understand this, right? For an example, Labour Party or the Conservative Party, if you want to join your local party, how easy is it to join?
Very easy, just to get a subscription. Just, I'm not here to advertise any particular party, but again, just, it's very, very easy.
And you can then go to meetings, because a lot of people don't understand they can go and change things easily.
Yeah, how do you think, politicians don't just appear, don't just happen by magic. Join your local party, write to your local MSP, or obviously there's a lot of SNP ones, but go on, look up your local party. Who's your local Labour councillor? Who's your local Conservative councillor? Who's your local Lib Dem councillor? Write to them. Say you want to get involved. Say you want to help them. Say you want to campaign for them. Say you want to deliver leaflets. It's people like us that can change it. We can't. It's all very well. We can't just sit at home and expect other people to do it. Aye. If we want the UK to continue, if we want Scotland to be part of the UK, we have to stand up for it. We have to fight for it. And I think that. Well, my thoughts on it. Michelle Adams, Gordon, you have my vote. You should stand. I'm not standing at the moment. Nicholas Dublin, the Saltire. The Saltire isn't owned by the cult. Correct. A very, very good point. I think we've touched on it. I think we have to start getting, get our flag back. It's the flag for the whole of Scotland. The Scottish flag is not just for SNP supporters. The Union flag is not just for English people or Welsh people or Scottish people. It's for the whole of Northern Irish folk. It's for the whole of the UK. Let's be proud of who we are. Gary Miller agrees with Michelle.
So 8 minutes left, right? Anybody wants to phone in, we've got 8 minutes to phone the show. You can speak to Gordon, you can ask him advice, opinions, or disagree with him on the number. Nobody's disagreed with him in the last 3 weeks he's been on. So your chances there, if you think he's in the wrong or anything, or if you disagree with everything he's saying, it's 0141 319 5230. Give him a call. You've got 8 minutes to do so.
Yep, please do. I'd love to understand the mindset of SNP supporters that think that a vote for the SNP and separation from the UK is a great thing. I don't. In my head, I can't compute it, but convince me otherwise, guys. Michelle Adams asking what my opinion on the state of Govan Hill constituency is. Well, take a walk around it. If you don't feel safe walking around anywhere at night, then that tells its own story. My opinion is that it leaves a lot to be desired, and if Nicola Sturgeon can't raise the standards and raise our own area of Govan Hill and the south side, then doesn't bode well for the whole of Scotland.
Just to add to that, Gordon, just my opinion on it, and my belief that no part of Britain should have what you class as ghettos at night, and certainly Scotland, you shouldn't have what people call ghettos, and I would say that parts of Govan will have ghettos, and that tells you everything you need to know about Nicola Sturgeon's SNP and how they've ran Scotland, that people are scared to walk these streets at night because of ghettos.
Yeah, the SNP priority is independence above anything. Doesn't matter, nothing can get in the way. Nothing is more important to them than independence, and it's a shame because we're all suffering as a result of it. And anyone that disagrees with that is cast aside like an enemy. Scott McPhee, do you think it'd be a good idea to start a website or forum for loyalists to gather and share information? Also hold a weekly YouTube law discussion like this one? Well, I think that's what we're doing, Scott. Well done, Scott. You've hit the nail on the head there, Scott. Well done. Charles Sharp, maybe a good idea. I'll leave that up to Simon to read that.
It was just maybe a good idea to invite, I'd imagine, Gordon on a weekly and regular basis. You've been on for 3 weeks, is that right?
Yeah, it's my third time in the
3
last
weeks,
4 weeks.
And we all decided the idea 4 weeks ago. So, we'll get you on at other times whenever. You tell us when you think it's relevant.
I think it's really important that we keep this discussion going, though. It shouldn't just be, a couple of weeks before an election. I think this is the difference between the SNP and the unionist parties. They're active 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. We're not. We only seem to have these discussions before elections or a couple of weeks before. This is why we need to have a strategy. It has to be in people's mindsets. It has to be a thing people remember and talk about. And that's what the SNP do really, really well, to their credit, as much as it pains me to say that. They have this local activist network. They have these platforms every day. So, yeah, I'll come on any platform and anything, any time of the week, any day of the week, any time of the year. But I think it's really important to keep the conversation going. A couple of comments. Somebody's asking what's my opinion on the Hamza hate crime bill. I spoke about this in more depth a couple of weeks ago, and it is an example of the SNP's failing to legislate properly. If you look into it again, I'm not going to bore you with the details of it, but it's basically the long and short of it is that if you're sitting in your home, you have a private conversation, somebody can report you for that conversation, and the police can arrest you for that conversation. And that is obviously that is that is the kind of top line of it. There's a lot more to it, but the bottom line of it is that is possible. And it was the same with the Offensive Behaviours of Football Act as well. Police state if you, and what happens is, so theoretically you could I could sit with my brother Chris and have a conversation with him about politics, and a third party could be there in the background. They don't like the conversation, and they report it to the police, and I can get arrested for having a private conversation with my brother.
Yeah.
And that's it. And
And that would be the same scenario if you made a joke then, that somebody decided it was not a joke.
And also that goes back to the named person scheme as well. So again, the last show before the election, I spoke about things like this. I also spoke about the named person scheme, where the government, the SNP government, the government in charge at Holyrood would appoint a person, a supervisor, to be a guardian of a child, basically from 1 day to 18 years of age, and it'd be this person would have access to someone's medical records. They could enter somebody's home. They could take a child away from a family.
Right.
And it was defeated, and a lot of the points were defeated. But again, this is legislation the SNP are making that we're not talking about. Why are we not talking about the hate crime? Why are we not talking about the Offensive Behaviour of Football Act? Why are we not talking about the named person scheme? What the SNP do is they hide and divert, and they talk about independence day in, day out, so we don't scrutinise their record. The health services went to shot, has went to pot in the last 10 years. They've not hit any of their own targets in the last 5 years. education, Scotland used to be one of the most educated and proudly, you know, institutions in the whole world. We used to have the top schools, the top universities, and again, look at it yourself, do your own research, look at the record, and let's talk about this. Let's stop the talk about independence, because all it is a diversion.
Yep.
Talk about the SNP's record, challenge them. And again, guys, just to kind of, before I wrap up, just to say that tactical voting was a success. In the areas we did it most, we stopped the SNP getting a majority. There's a lot of work to get done, absolutely. And in my opinion, next year it starts at the local elections. So let's get together and let's get a strategy and let's win our country back.
We had McGregor, Tab and Goldson and Borna at the back. Alfie Kent, Rafit and the fall in attack. Davis, Jack and Mara, Arfield, Hadji came alive. With Helen, Dead and Balogun, they won as 55. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. Oh Rangers, we love you. Not forgetting Joey Boy, his name we couldn't fit. Like Edmondson and Barker, we knew they'd done their bit. McLaughlin, Jones and Bassey, Bungani, Zunga, and Nico Katic couldn't play, but he's Rangers through and through. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. Oh Rangers, we love you. So Stephen Gerrard came to Ibrox along with Gary Mack, and they were set the challenge to bring the title back. The day that he arrived, he ended on let's go, and now it's there for all to see, the league flags coming home. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do.